Your brain is ancient hardware running modern software. And right now, that mismatch is creating some of the most fascinating and unsettling challenges we've ever faced. We're living through a collision between evolution and innovation, and you're caught right in the middle. If you're curious about how your mind actually works, and why artificial intelligence is changing the game in ways you might not expect, stick around. If you love exploring the science of how we think, consider subscribing to the channel. We explore questions like this every week. Let's start with a simple fact. Your brain was designed by millions of years of evolution to solve problems in small groups, hunt for food, and avoid immediate threats. It's optimized for survival in a world that no longer exists. But now, that same brain is trying to navigate a world of infinite information, algorithmic recommendations, and artificial intelligence that's getting smarter every single day. The first collision happens at your attention. Attention is the currency of your consciousness. It's the difference between you noticing something and it passing right through you like wind through an open window. Evolution gave you attention for a reason. It helped you focus on what mattered. A predator in the tall grass, a potential mate, food sources. Your attention was a filter, and that filter kept you alive. But here's the problem. That ancient attention system was designed for a world with maybe 50 pieces of information competing for your focus each day. Your attention could actually handle that. It was adaptive. It was useful. Now you're exposed to more information in a single hour than a person from 100 years ago encountered in their entire lifetime. And your brain hasn't changed. It's still running the same code. When you scroll through a feed, every notification triggers the same dopamine response that kept your ancestors alert for danger. The algorithm knows this. It's designed to exploit that ancient wiring. Infinite scroll mimics the endless horizon of the savannah. Red notification dots mimic the sudden movement that could mean a threat. Your brain is still the same pattern recognition machine it was 10,000 years ago, except now it's fighting an opponent that was specifically engineered to beat it. This is where artificial intelligence enters the picture in a way that's genuinely new. AI systems don't have this problem. They have no attention in the human sense. They process information with perfect indifference. They don't get distracted. They don't feel bored, and because of that, they're starting to do things your brain was evolved to do better than your brain can actually do them anymore. This leads to the second collision, cognitive offloading. Offloading happens when you outsource a mental task to something external. Writing down a grocery list, using a calculator, GPS for navigation. These are all forms of offloading, and they're not inherently bad. They free up mental energy for other things. That's useful. But AI-powered offloading is different in scale and scope. You're not just offloading tasks anymore. You're offloading reasoning. You're offloading creativity. You're offloading the process of thinking itself. ChatGPT can write you an essay in seconds. It can generate ideas you might have spent hours developing. Claude can summarize thousands of pages of research in moments. Mid-Journey can create a visual concept that might have taken a designer weeks to iterate on. And here's where it gets weird. The more you offload, the more you might lose the ability to do those things yourself. This is called the expertise penalty. If you stop doing mental math, your mental math skills atrophy. If you stop navigating without GPS, your spatial reasoning weakens. Your brain is plastic. It adapts to the tools you use. You don't get worse at using tools. You get worse at the thing the tools do for you. A musician who only plays with digital assistants might lose the ability to improvise. A writer who relies entirely on AI for structure might struggle to organize their own thoughts. A researcher who only reads AI summaries instead of papers might miss the nuance and the contradictions that make real understanding possible. You become more dependent on the tool, and simultaneously less capable without it. That's not progress, that's a trade. But there's a third collision happening, and it's more subtle. It's about creativity itself. Your ancient brain is actually remarkable at creativity. The human mind evolved to make novel connections. to see patterns that don't exist yet, to imagine futures that haven't happened. Your ancestors needed to be creative to survive. They needed to invent new tools, new strategies, new solutions to problems they'd never encountered before. Creativity in the human brain happens through something called recombination. You take ideas from different domains and smash them together in new ways. You sleep on a problem and your unconscious mind processes it. You take a walk and suddenly you see a connection you didn't see before. Creativity is slow. It's inefficient. It requires boredom and friction and time. Artificial intelligence can generate something that looks creative at breathtaking speed. An AI can produce thousands of variations on a design, thousands of headlines, thousands of possible solutions. But here's the thing, it's not actually creative in the way your brain is. An AI recombines patterns from its training data. It optimizes for what's already been created and liked and valued. It is, by definition, constrained to the past. Your brain, on the other hand, can imagine something truly novel. But increasingly, creators are using AI as a shortcut, accepting the first generated output instead of going through the friction of actually thinking. They're outsourcing not just the labor, but the thinking. And when everyone does this, we all converge on the same patterns, the same solutions, the same ideas. The space of possible creativity actually shrinks. Even as the quantity of created content explodes, we get more, and it's all increasingly the same. Now we arrive at the fourth and perhaps most important collision: trust. Your brain evolved in small groups where reputation mattered. You could see people's faces. You could read their intentions. Trust was built through personal interaction and repeated contact. Your ancestors could tell if someone was honest because they watched them over years. But now, you're being asked to trust invisible systems that you can't see, made by people you'll never meet, optimized for goals you don't fully understand. When an AI makes a recommendation, you can't see its reasoning the way you can see a friend's face when they're giving you advice. When an algorithm decides what news you see, you can't negotiate with it or ask it why. When an AI system makes a decision about your loan or your job application or your medical care, there's a kind of opacity that your brain has no evolutionary framework for handling. This creates a strange situation. You either trust the system completely, assuming it knows better than you do, or you distrust it completely, assuming it's designed to deceive you. There's very little middle ground. Your brain is looking for signals it evolved to understand: a face, a voice, consistency, reciprocal behavior. AI systems don't provide those signals, and so we're left in a state of uncertainty that feels deeply uncomfortable. The irony is that AI systems might actually be more honest than humans in many ways. They don't have personal agendas, they don't get offended, they don't play politics, but they also don't have the kind of understanding of context and nuance and human value that builds real trust. They're powerful, but they're alien, and your brain knows it. So where does this leave us? What kind of humans are we becoming? The answer might depend on the choices we make right now. We don't have to accept cognitive offloading passively. We can choose which tasks we outsource and which we protect. We can choose to struggle with problems, knowing that struggle builds understanding. We can choose to create without AI assistance sometimes, knowing that friction creates originality. We can choose to question the systems we interact with, to demand transparency, to build literacy around how these tools actually work. But there's another possibility, one that's harder, but maybe more interesting. Maybe the future isn't about humans versus AI. Maybe it's about humans and AI developing a real partnership.